What is going on, guys? We are back. Teddy in his regular setup. We got a lot to talk about today on the Super Mega Riftbound Podcast. Stick around. We're going to have a great time. Catch you guys all up to speed.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 6 of the Super Mega Riftbound Podcast. 6, my lucky number. So happy to have reached that number. We're 4 away from my second lucky number, 10, and get double digits. But Eli, how you doing, man? We haven't. Feels like I don't know why it feels like forever since we talked. And I know it was only a week ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does feel like forever. I think mostly because we've been having guests every episode, right?
It's true.
So the last couple of episodes we've had some guests on, so it could feel a little bit like we're not talking. We're just talking to the people. We're not talking to one another, you know? So it's nice to have this little break of an episode to come back. We'll have a guest next week as well, but for this week, it's just Teddy and I holding the fort down. Teddy, how was your last week in Riftbound? What's going on?
It was good. It was good. I know last week I talked about how I had taken a little hiatus. I have finally actually played a game of Riftbound in 2026. I played a little bit of set 2, kind of just get my hands back into the game, make sure I still remember how to play, and I do. Nothing went away. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. As you guys can see, if you're watching, I am back in Indianapolis, back at school, back in my normal setup. So I'm excited to kind of start grinding. Lots to do for set 2. It's finally 2026. Like I said, we get Spirit Forge stuff next month. So lots. I think it's actually a month, less than a month from when pre-rift stuff starts. So excited to really hone in on that stuff and see where that goes. Yeah, Eli, how was your last week in Riftbound? I know you've been up to a lot.
Yeah, I usually go to 2 locals a week. That's my shot for try to get to 2 a week. I was able to get to 2 just these last couple of days from when we're recording. We record on Fridays to post it on Saturday. So I did a Wednesday local and a Thursday local. So I ended up winning both of those. Luckily, I won the first one with Victor because I was going to play Lux, but my buddy borrowed my Lux deck right beforehand. So I had to bring out the big guns, I guess. Ended up winning that one. And then I won last night as of recording with Darius Hook at an event as well. That was
you pulled a pretty spicy card, didn't you?
I did. So I won with Darius Hook. I pulled a overnumbered set. That was pretty cool. But then I also pulled a Yellow Seal and a Watcher in this pack. So just an absolutely crazy string of luck there, luckily, which helped out because I didn't pull anything out of my winnings on Wednesday. So the Thursday winnings definitely
evens out.
Definitely made up for that. I also wanted to say I only won these tournaments because I dodged a local menace in the Wednesday tournament. Shout out to Nest Megatron. Our buddy on set beats me every single time we play. I swear to God. So I dodged him, which let me take that tournament down. But that was a lot of fun. That was about my last week in Riftbound.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. We've kind of got past the holiday season. Everyone's getting back into a groove of playing. We're gonna start today's episode. We have a lot to talk about. We're gonna start today's episode. Obviously, we got a pre-sale announcement from Riot. We got a lot of new information about what this is going to be. So Eli, you want to take us through all of this pre-sale, all this goodiness that we got from Riot?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a lot of information that came out from Riot about pre-sales, which is really nice that they're communicating in this way. The big one that everyone's going to be super interested in is Spirit Forge pre-orders are going to be available on the Riot site. There were obviously a lot of problems with the pre-orders and how they did them for the first set and handled them before the game's launch. But it looks like from this article that they've posted, they are aware of the issues, they know what's going on, and they are reassuring in this article. So they talked about the shipping times. They're saying, hey, we heard you guys. We're going to make sure that they can get into your hands, get out of the Riot headquarters or whatever warehouse they're getting stored in, and into the players' hands to actually play the game alongside the champion decks. So hopefully that can happen. They said actual release is February 13th. So they're going to try to start sending them out that same day on February 13th. So hopefully that will happen. Obviously, getting boxes at MSRP is a great thing, and you'll be able to do that from the Riot store every time. And also, they said they're going to limit each Riot ID, individual Riot ID, to 1 booster box and 3 of each champion deck. Very important with how last time went and
Yeah.
how the booster boxes just got cleared out immediately. Obviously, this is still technically bottable, right? Because you can just make whatever Riot ID, but it is much, much more difficult to do so than how it was set up before. So
Mhm.
good steps there. We also have a pretty spicy pre-order product that they're bringing out. They are letting us order the Chinese Aurelia Lunar New Year bundle from the official English Riot store. I think this is super cool.
Oh, yeah.
So they did the initial Chinese promo releases were not available in English release. You had to find somebody who's willing to ship it from China to you if you wanted to take advantage of that, or go to China and pick it up yourself if you really wanted to. But for this Aurelia one, they have said, okay, Lunar New Year, we're bringing it home. This whole bundle is going to be available on the English Riot merch store. Very, very cool that they're doing this. 1 in 10 chance, by the way, at that golden Poro coin. Yeah, it's a 9 in 10 silver, 1 in 10 golden Poro. So that's going to be a super big flex, but has a lot of cool stuff in there. I'm very excited that they have made that available. It's going live February 17th on the website, but they're not going to get shipped until May. So they're very upfront with the timeline on
Yeah.
that.
I do want to say that pricing these at $40 is not bad at all. Like I
Oh
was
my
like when
God.
I first saw it, I thought this was gonna be like $60, $70. And to have it be only 40.
It's sleeves, a mat,
Yeah, like
a
a
promo
very
card that's
yeah.
playable in English, right? Because it's the leader. So
Mhm.
when you have your legend, you can still play that Chinese
Yeah.
because it's its own deck. So that's very cool. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
And as someone who's going to be playing Aurelia, I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to buy this like 100%." This is like I've been excited about things in Riftbound. I haven't been more excited about this. Like this is sick. I am over the top ready to get this in my hands. I'm gonna have to wait till May, but it'll be a good graduation present like that.
There
Can't
you go. Yeah.
can't
Look at the
can't
positives there.
complain there. But yeah, here's everything that is in it. Get some sleeves, the Poro coin, like you said. So yeah, really cool product here.
Yeah, super, super cool product. Very excited that they are going to be doing that. More announcements as well. They also announced that they're going to be reprinting Proving Grounds. That's very, very exciting for people. We knew they were reprinting it, but we didn't really know what that looked like quite yet. But they've come out and said, hey, we know stock was bad. We're going to reprint it. And they even went as far as to partner with a new company to print this product, which I think is just astronomically fantastic. They're not holding to the constraints of the prior company they were working with that obviously had those quality control issues as well for the actual printing of the card. And that means that the product itself should be of a higher quality. Now, unfortunately, it was at a $30 MSRP before that. However, they do need to change that MSRP to $40 because of the new printing partner. I think that's personally still
Yeah.
completely fair. You get 4 champion decks, 4 champion decks, 2 of which have very relevant champions. Lux also performing okay in City Challenges next set, so might be somewhat okay next set. I think that's still great value at $40 personally, and I think that people will still be buying these and they'll be flying off the shelves at that price point. But very pumped that Riot has heard us. They said, okay, we messed up on pre-orders. We know that Proving Grounds was understocked. They're going to fix these issues just like Riot Games always does, and that's going to put us in a very good position for moving forward into the next set.
Yeah, I'm very happy about this. I think something that like obviously has come up so far with Riot and just the whole like game so far is like there have been issues, but how many games have issues when they're starting out? Like it's
Right.
just it kind of comes with the field. Can't think of that phrase
Comes
right
with
now,
the
but
territory.
yes, there you go. Comes with the territory, but they're responding and they're answering these questions and they're coming with ideas to be able to get these cards into our hands again and get these high value cards into our hands again. We're probably going to see these prices of these cards, especially like Flash, go down. So I really think do you not think it will?
So
Do you think it
no.
won't?
There's just a separate side of the Poro coin on this one, right? Because with it being a new distributor, the boxes are going to be different. The
Oh, that's
copyrights are
true.
going to be different. It's not going to look like a first wave Proving Grounds box, meaning the collector's market will most likely still be after that first wave of
True.
Proving Grounds. So that's just something to note, is that the collector side of it, you're still going to probably want that first wave. But for the getting it in players' hands and players actually playing the game, this is the perfect decision.
I am really curious because I haven't looked into it, like how big the collector's market is for this game. I really have not
It's
gone
they,
into it, but I figured because of its league, it's gonna be high.
they're doing an excellent job of really splitting promos. Like, so most games, right? You are kind of worried the entire time that your cards are getting reprinted. Magic the Gathering solved this with their collector's market by
Mhm,
introducing a very divisive reserved list, which I'm sure you've heard of, where they
mhm,
said, hey, these cards are never getting reprinted. If they're on this
mhm,
list, we're never going to reprint them. We're never going to take them off. Riot did not do that. However, they did make a guarantee that the overnumbereds and above, so the overnumbereds and the signatures, will never get printed in the same artwork again.
yeah.
With that being the case, that opens the door for additional overnumbereds of the same cards being printed. So you have the collector's market of separate overnumbers for the same cards, and you have the collector's market of knowing that your overnumbereds are always safe. So they're never getting reprinted. You can sit on those forever, and that's going to be a huge collector's market. A lot of the alt art champions, when the sets go out of print, will probably be a little bit of collector's items. Those are obviously not as rare and can be reprinted. So you have to keep an eye out for that. Um, but the promos as well, they've been doing a great job with pushing out a whole bunch of different
Mhm,
varieties of promos. Like the Worlds Bundle cards are going to be very collectible. The Worlds Bundles themselves, these limited run products, they always do great in a collector's market. And that's something that Pokemon understands really fundamentally and is a huge successful section of their game. So I'm glad to see Riot at least addressing that, because some games like Yu-Gi-Oh, their collector's market is just non-existent at this point.
yeah.
So me personally, as somebody who likes to collect, I really like what they've been doing so far.
Yeah, as someone who, like, really doesn't collect, like, it's cool to me, but it also is I'm not the person that can sit on something for 3 years and then sell it, like, it just not that's not how I am, it's not how I function. So, but it is cool to be able to hopefully see to get a collector's market and a player's market. Obviously, that's gonna help this game keep growing and keep getting bigger and bigger. Because if we only had one, I think the game would suffer, so, yeah,
Yep, it always
happy to
does.
hear that. Yeah.
Always does. So yeah, very happy to hear that completely. And we've also got news, of course, on that Origins restock. Nothing absolutely major, but you've probably seen it. Wave 2 is upon us. Your LGS probably has at least a little bit of product. I know here in the Indianapolis area, we've had quite a few stores get their
Mhm.
second wave shipped out. That is causing the secondary market to dip down just a little bit. We'll probably cover that next week. Just say, hey, here's what's going on, because it definitely, the decreases are rather major with this second wave getting shipped out, which is good. It's exactly
Yes,
what we
very
want to
good.
see with this kind of thing. But keep an eye out. Maybe check out your LGS, see if they've gotten their second wave in yet. In my opinion, probably shouldn't support them if they're selling it for a crazy amount over MSRP, but that's neither here nor there. Last update, the Arcane box shipping delay. They've said that these Arcane boxes are not going to be going out until mid-February, which is just in a couple of days at this point. Seeing this episode on the 10th of February. So I think we should be okay with this. Like, it's a delay for sure, but the arcade box is another huge collector's type item, just like the Worlds bundles were. So we'll see these come out. They're going to be a blast. We're going to see people opening them all over TikTok,
Mhm.
all over YouTube. Everyone's going to have a field day with them. Very, very cool product. And I'm glad that they are going to be shipping it out and not just saying, okay, we're going to refund you and not ship out the product. They are shipping
Did
it
you
out,
get
but just
one?
in February. I was not able to get one, but I did have a friend who was able to get two. So I might be
Mm.
getting one from them. It just depends on how that works.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I think I wish I would have been in the game closer to when these actually released. But I definitely think this is obviously a cool product. I don't think this will be the last arcane style box set we get. I think
Yeah.
we're going to see more stuff in the arcane theme. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an arcane theme set at some point. Like that's or like I don't know if it'll be a full set, but like how like Pokemon does their holiday sets or like those mini sets that they do. I could see definitely something like that. For Riftbound and Arcane, which would be really cool. But yeah,
Well, I
lots.
know I know you're not caught up on the League of Legends lore as much, Teddy,
I'm not.
but they have just moved into Demacia for this current season of League of Legends that has just started. So I would imagine that we're going to see some Demacian themes throughout this
Mm,
year, potentially in a lot of the advertising and marketing and such.
well, there you go. All right. Well, that is all of our announcements. Very good to see from Riot. Just kind of see all these updates, so we kind of have something to look forward to. We're not kind of left with any questions in our head. But now we want to move on to a topic kind of talking about local communities and how to support them. We're kind of just addressing, I think, a lot of different things that we've seen in the community come up, and like, what can you do to help your local community? And we'll go through these, kind of talk what our biggest things, because we've seen how important the Indianapolis community is for Riftbound. We've grown a very good local community. Everyone knows a lot of people. And when new people come in, you're welcoming, and we invite them in. So I think that's obviously the first thing: be welcoming.
Yeah.
When you see someone new, always say hi. Eli, you are great at doing this. Like the first time I came in for event, the first, like, Eli said hi right away, and he does it every time. So do that a lot. Say hi to people. Go to locals. Obviously, buy and sell within the community. Uh, Inform card shops about the game. If you know a shop that you think would be really good for the game, and they're not aware of it, tell them. Tell them,
Yeah.
okay, this game is doing well. I think you should run events and support it. Attend skirmishes. I think that's always good to kind of keep the competitive spirits up, because obviously we can have this nice, friendly community, but also it's cool to have a kind of competitive scene, which I think indie also does well. As we kind of can separate, like, we have a very competitive scene. I think a lot of us would agree on that the skill level in indie is higher. But we also, like, after we're done, like, sure, we're locked in the game, but then we can get up and have a friendly conversation after, like, no animosity towards each other, which I think
Right. Let's take it a step here and dive into a couple of those first options that you listed. So I came up with the idea for this segment because I think that I've seen a lot of games. I used to work at a game store myself, just like Teddy works at a game store now. And a lot of the time when I was working in the game store, I would see these new games come out. And the defining characteristic that I saw in all of these games was that they would all fade off because their community was not strong.
Mhm.
And their community was either spearheaded by the wrong person, or the vibes of it were just a little bit off. The people didn't get along too much. It was too competitive. It was too casual. A multitude of reasons that games could die off, right? However, I think Riftbound has a strong enough basis that we need to really build the community in the correct way. And we need to be pillars of the community in the correct way. Everybody can be a pillar of their own local community. And so I wanted to talk about that with a segment today, because I think that a lot of people diminish their own importance when it comes to a local experience. You are a part of every single tournament you attend, and making sure that you are someone who is welcoming, who is smiling at people, who is having good games with people. You could be competitive, but be nice
Yes,
competitive,
be
right?
friendly. Don't,
Be
like,
friendly.
yeah.
That's super important for retaining new players coming into the game, making sure that people don't leave the game because the community is either could be perceived as like a toxic community, or is just not improving their lives, right? People come into a game store and want to play in a tournament because they want to prove that they're the
Mhm.
best, and because they want to have a good time doing so. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people come to tournaments and don't even want to do the first option, don't even want to prove they're the best. They want to play their wacky off meta deck, have a lot of fun, and that's fine. That is an excellent part of what makes a card game community. Everyone should be welcome, and everybody should be able to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I am a part of this. I helped this happen. And so that was the big thing behind this segment that I wanted to talk
Mhm.
about, the being the kind and helpful face. Informing card shops about the games community, like you were talking about. I think that if a card shop is not running Riftbound, and there's not many of them that I've seen, but
Mhm.
definitely try to talk to them about running Riftbound. It's a very good community from what we have started from just the ground up, and it's going to be good for them as well. Riftbound is a game that they've already had a plan for, and any community getting started at any store is always going to be a positive if the store itself is in a position to do that, of course. I know you now working at Paradigm
Yeah.
to have like an inside view on how that community is going and like how that's being built up.
Mhm.
So I know that you definitely can see which people are doing that and which people are not.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to see, and, like, obviously, when you come in, you're like, "Oh, it's a League of Legends card game." Like, there's a quote unquote stigma behind. You hear League of Legends and, like, "Oh my gosh, these guys are gonna be assholes. They're gonna be so mean. They're not gonna care." But it's like, you can prove that wrong, and I think we have. And what this game has been so friendly, even like interactions on, like, Twitter, all these, like, Discord, all this stuff. There's no, like, I haven't seen a real league interaction, maybe on Reddit, but I don't go on there a lot. Reddit's probably the place where that kind of happens the most. But your local community isn't Reddit. Your local community is your city, where you're from, where you play, and there's a really good opportunity to kind of break away from a little bit of that stigma and create
Mhm.
a Riftbound community, a one that's not based on kind of a stigma that League has, but create a new stigma that Riftbound is this friendly and inviting community, and it's a very good game, and you can go and play, and you can get better, but also and gain friends out of it. So I think that's kind of the big thing is like if you're listening to this and you haven't gone to an event, you're like worried, oh my gosh, these people are going to be mean, they're going to not be fun to play against. Go and see what happens, and I promise you, there are going to be nice people there. And if there aren't, you can message me, and I will deal with them myself. I don't know if that's actually true, but we'll do something.
Okay.
We'll figure. Like, there's ways to figure out how to change that, and you can be the person who starts that as well.
Right, definitely. It all starts with like each individual person, right? It's the recycling at home mantra. Recycling at home on a small scale does nothing, right?
Mhm,
Like it does nothing for you personally to recycle at your house. What it does do is set up that block that when everyone follows that and
mhm.
continues to set up that block, that is when it makes an impact. And so doing a small thing like that, being courteous, being kind,
Are you talking
making
about
sure that
recycling, like putting like a plastic bottle in the recycling? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, like, I wanted to make sure it wasn't
yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
crazy.
Recycling, like, because your environmental impact as an individual person is
Mhm,
so statistically low. But when everybody is recycling and doing that, then it becomes statistically meaningful for the environment if everybody is doing the task together, just like building a community in the right way.
it's
Um,
ironic you say that because Butler doesn't recycle.
Come on, Butler, get on top of things. 2026, we don't recycle. That's crazy.
We just got our trash can replaced, and I'm like, "Are we gonna get a recycle bin?" And I'm like, "Nope, no recycle bin."
That
I literally asked the trash guy as I walked by him, a few weeks ago, and he goes, "Are we getting a recycle bin?" He goes, "Nope, we're still not recycling." I'm like, "Come on, man."
absolutely insane. But yeah, on that note, though, when you see that bad behavior too, like Teddy said, you can just message him apparently, and he's gonna fly out to
Yeah,
you.
sure, yeah.
Uh,
You can pay the
but
money and I'll come out. Sure, yeah. Pay for
but
my flight.
try to course correct others' bad behavior as well. And I don't mean like get in their face and yell at them that they are doing this terrible, awful thing, but just making sure that like people are accountable and they know what they're doing is
Mhm,
important, right? You don't want those people who are always like raging at the game, for example. Like
yeah.
say you're sitting down there raging in the game, they do it every single match, they make every opponent miserable that plays against them. That's something that probably should be called out a little bit. Just so and maybe you don't do it, maybe you talk to the shop owner for the
Exactly.
shop
That's it.
you're
I
at.
will I will can I cut in real quick? I will
Mhm,
say, like, something that, like, working at these stores and I've been learning from my bosses is, like, if you see something, you see people uncomfortable, sometimes it is okay to go talk to the store manager because that's what they're there to do.
yeah.
Or if like you're playing in a skirmish, talk to the judge. That's what they're there to do. It's not your responsibility sometimes to handle that. You can put it on the people who are there to manage and control this. That's what the TO is for. So obviously, like if you see something and you have like you think with like a friend, you could go up to this person and say, "We see how you're acting. Can you try to fix it? Can you try to be kinder?" Like you're say something along those lines. But if you feel like maybe it just isn't in your wheelhouse to do, maybe that's not your type of thing,
Mhm.
go up to the shop owner, go up to uh, the TO, go up to the judge and see what they can do to help you resolve this in the best way possible so everyone can stay. And if it comes to a point where a person does have to get kicked out of a store, that happens. It happens. Like that just happened in trading card games. Sometimes people are gonna get kicked out of events, but hopefully it doesn't reach that if you're able to kind of calm the situation down and handle it to where we can go back to playing and everyone is having a good time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And in a similar vein, something I also personally do. I know some people aren't fans of this. It comes from an old TCG mentality when people don't do this. But I think at this point in this day and age, all of us can kind of try to do this. When you see a really lopsided trade, someone that doesn't understand, doesn't know to go to TCG player is new card game player, and they're trading somebody else for crazily different values, right? So I saw this a lot personally with the promo leaders, like the
Mhm.
promo origins champions that had come out.
But
people were trading for them at the
no.
value as if they were the regular leader from the pack, and like the 80 cents to a dollar that all of those
Yeah.
are, right? Rather than the like $15+ that the majority of the promotional leaders are. And so that was something that I would always point out. It's like, oh, hey, that says promo on the bottom. It's actually a different value. You should
Mhm.
probably look this up on this site, and just not say anything else. Just interject very lightly with that, and then back yourself out of the situation. I personally do that because when I was a kid, I was a victim of almost getting scammed, and I would have never played TCGs if that was the
Yeah.
case. I have a story where, a little bit of a tangent, but not really. There was a store called Gamers. All my Indiana old heads will know what that is. The sign is actually still up at a plaza in Greenwood. But so there's a store called Gamers, and the owner named Tim. There was two Tims. He was the first of the two Tims. Second Tim bought it from him and was terrible. But first Tim was amazing. I was at my very, very first TCG event ever. It was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Pre-release event.
Mm.
And I went to this pre-release event, and I was 10 years old, incredibly excited. I had watched the show on 4Kids every Saturday. I was pumped to be able to go and play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I get in there after my parent took me after church. We went over to Gamers. I sit down, I crack open my very first pack because it's a pre-release that we end up going to. So it's a pre-release. I crack open my very first pack, and there is an ultimate rare first edition Solar Recharge sitting in my pack. Now, that, for people who do not play Yu-Gi-Oh, was one of the chase cards of the set. So the biggest chase card was Judgment Dragon, then Honest, and then Solar Recharge Ultimate Rare First Edition. So I, being the kid I was, really wanted to trade this Solar Recharge that I wasn't going to be able to use for some
Mhm.
better cards. And people were offering me all kinds of better cards. Blue Eyes White Dragons, Red Eyes Black Dragons, all of these fusion cards that just looked so cool. And me being 10 years old, I was ready to take him up on this. It seemed fantastic. Uh, the shop owner, Tim, saw what was happening, came over, interjected politely, and said, "Hey guys, this is his first event. Stop doing this." He brought me up to the front. He showed me the card value that I had
Mhm.
pulled, the Solar Recharge, versus the cards that they were trying to trade me. My Solar Recharge was $95. The cards they were trying to trade me were about 50 cents to a dollar, and they were fully comfortable with just doing that, right? Tim explained card economics to me at 10 years old to the best of his ability, said, okay, you need to know that cards are worth different things, and you need to be able to know where to look them up if you need to look them up. And this was in the days of very, very early. It was
What year was
2009,
this? Sorry.
2009, 2010. So very early in, I think you looked it up on Troll and Toad at the time was the
Oh,
standard,
Troll and
which, yeah,
Toad.
is just a crazy thing. But we had just come out of the era where you had pricing books, like printed pricing books that you had flipped through to try to find values for cards. But he showed me the values, showed me how to look up the values and how to get them. Said, okay, hey, sell it to the store, and I will give you 3 Caius the Shadow Monarch structure decks. And so he slipped me 3 Caius the Shadow Monarch structure decks, which was a $60 value for my $90 card, which is much better than the dollar I was going to get, right? And it got me a basis to actually start playing the game. And one man's kindness, Tim's kindness in that circumstance, Tim's acknowledgement that he didn't want me to be ripped off. I was new to the community and he wanted me to keep playing games, has kept me playing trading card games for 15 plus years. One specific interaction, because I never ever would have played again if I had found out I had gotten scammed like that. That is the kind of kindness we're talking about. And that is why it is so relevant to just step in and make sure that people are having a good experience.
Yeah, I think like yeah, it's just so cool like to hear those stories because it's like when people think of trading card games, like I talk to my friends that don't play and like I don't bring it up a lot that's my hobby. I brought it up to some people that I hadn't told before, and they looked at like they started looking me up and like they found my Twitter. I'm like, okay, it's cool. They don't really care, but they're also like, are you really like what's the like pull to this? Why do you do this? It's because of that. It's because of those things and those stories I think that make trading card games in a whole so cool is because you make so many friends, you get these memories that really impact you forever and
Yeah.
keep you coming back. I remember like mine. It won't be it'll be a quick story, but like Pokemon was my first game in high school. I would go up to the store that was 45 minutes away, and it had nothing to do with the games. Like I knew card economics, I knew all that stuff because I was in high school, and like I knew understand that. But there's people who are out of college, like they had full time jobs, and I'm a 16, 17-year-old, and they're like, "You want to come get dinner with us after the event? Like it's 10 o'clock at night." And they're like, "Yeah, come get dinner with us." And I'm like, "Okay." So I went, and so like those type of things is what I think is so cool. Like be inviting, invite people that you may have not hung out with. I know like the TCG community can be clicky. We can have like our different like we walk in, and you're like, "Oh hey guys," and you go walk to the table that your friends are at, and talk to another table and like talk to different people throughout the event too, which I think is also extremely important.
Yeah, definitely is. I love the trading card game community. I know that everyone who's watching this obviously does as well. You have a vested interest. You're getting through a podcast based on a card game. Like you are into it, and that's a great thing that so many people can be into it. We need to make sure that everybody can enjoy it the way that they want to enjoy it, as long as that is healthy for the community overall. But yeah,
Yeah.
long-winded segment. I think it was a really good conversation. I like that a lot. But we're gonna move on to our next one here.
I will say one more thing that we
Please.
didn't mention: smell good.
Oh, yeah,
Bring
right.
deodorant.
The obvious one. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah. You
smell
don't want to
good.
have
We
a
mentioned it before, but smell good.
you don't want to have a situation like Yu-Gi-Oh where they have to print it into the rule book that your hygiene has to be good.
That's
That's
insane.
always a little bit
I did
awkward.
not know that's a rule book, and that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, it is. You can get DQ'd from a tournament for
That's crazy.
it.
Holy
But
cow.
all right. Speaking of tournaments, next segment we got here, we've been having a little bit of an uptick recently in these large tournaments that are going on. A lot of stuff getting announced. So we just wanted to very briefly go over what's going on in the space. So when you're watching this live right now, there was a 5K yesterday. For SCG Con in Atlanta. There's going to be a 10K the day you are watching this for SCG Con in Atlanta. Very exciting for those participating. They're going to have a great time. I know one of my buddies is giving me live updates right now as we're recording on the 5K and how they're doing in that. So hopefully you're doing well in that, Zealous. But we've got a new tournament that just got announced, $25,000 cash, PPG. Same people that hosted the Orlando 10K that I attended are going to be hosting a Pittsburgh 25K cash guarantee tournament. I will say, read the fine print on that, because the cash guarantee that we got at the last one ended up being product for the two 5Ks. So I'm hoping that this is actually fully cash here. But they are doing I believe, can you scroll up just a little bit, Teddy? I believe it's a Saturday and a Sunday
Yeah.
event. Yeah. Saturday and a Sunday event. They're going to be doing a 25K tournament. Obviously, that is a huge purse, huge prize pool. It means that their turnout in Orlando was good enough, and that PPG really believes that this game is going to be successful. So that's really nice to see. We've also seen, of course, a lot of other tournaments not following suit, but even setting the standard for that. Multiple 25Ks, big invitationals getting announced. Obviously, the regular circuit of the regionals are going to be absolutely massive as well. So it looks like the community support for this game on a tournament organization level is
Mhm.
quite massive. There's even smaller tournaments happening as well. I mean, Brocane, the Four Horsemen tournament, I'm sure some of you have heard of. I personally will be a part of that, but that is going to be a tournament that is being run. That is a $1,000 cash tournament for a team. It's a team event. So a little bit of ingenuity there. You're still playing 1v1s, but you're playing your own champion week by week against other team members from opposing teams. They did a whole draft and everything. It was pretty cool. And then we've got a tournament that is getting hosted by, I believe, Nova. You'll probably see Nova on Twitter. It is in the Riftbound remote showdowns. So it's an online tournament. I believe it's a TCGA specific online tournament. And they are hosting a tournament for a GG Easy Teemo on top of other prizing. So there's a lot of really cool community tournaments popping up in the space if you're paying attention on the base level, as well as these huge 25K cash tournaments that are getting announced as well. We had 10Ks, but now it looks like the purse is going up a little bit. So they're really interested in getting people into these events. What's your take on this, Teddy? What do you think about all this?
I love it. I think this is great for the game. I will say it's great for the game because of how spaced out some of these bigger events can be. Like we obviously only had a few months between I guess October was when Atlanta, right? Atlanta? No, Houston. Houston.
Houston,
Uh,
yeah.
like, and obviously February, but we still have there's a bunch of time in between these events, and now that we're seeing that kind of the number go up in these events, I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna keep the competitive spirit alive
Mhm.
because it gives people more things to go to, and cash is always welcome. Like, he always if you get like, cash is never gonna be scoffed at. I think if these were like uh pack prizing, then they might not be as sought after. But usually you have those case tournaments in your local area. Not as many to start off, but as product becomes more available, I guarantee we'll see more case tournaments pop up in in like the cities, or maybe like a 5 case tournament or something that pops up, and you get like a few hundred people coming from surrounding cities, but it's
Mhm.
not as big. So I think this is great for the game because it, one, it keeps up the competitive spirit, keeps people traveling for the game, which if people are traveling, that's also just really good because people are wanting to go. Something else I want to bring up is CCS is doing their big invitational circuit. Like, they have throughout this year, they're going to have 6 different events. I think it's 3 in Houston and 3 in Atlanta that you can go to and then qualify for an invitational at the end of the year. And each of these are going to have very big prize pools. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can look it up real quick.
capped up by the invitational prize pool is quite stellar, if I remember
Yes.
correctly. Yeah, CCS, another organizer
Is
that
this
is pretty big in other card games. So very
Yeah.
exciting to see them jump into Riftbound as well. I'm going to talk just briefly while you're looking this up, though, Teddy. So something that I will say for these tournaments as well, it keeps people traveling. $50,000 invitational.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
Like, if you
super.
get like before you continue, like, obviously you have all of these qualifiers and it starts at the end of this month and goes until October. So it's like there's one like every 2 months, it looks like, pretty much. And then I would assume like top 128, there's 6, whatever that math is, like top, I don't know how 128 divides up evenly somehow into that. So like top, let's just say 32 for each of them.
Mhm.
It's probably not that. I think it's like top 24. We'll get in and you'll be able to 128 divided by 6. Okay, it's 21.3. So I don't know how they're going to decide 128, but they will decide how many people get in between these qualifiers, and then you'll be able to go. It's in Houston. I believe they just opened a store in Houston, but their main one is in Atlanta. I know that's where like we saw the 10K from a little bit ago happen. But like, this is so cool, and I think it really drives home that people are willing to put effort into this. And each of these events, I believe, is $25,000. So we're going to get 6 $25,000 tournaments throughout the year.
Just so incredible. Like you said, it's going to keep people traveling, but something I wanted to highlight as well, it's also going to keep up storylines, right? Games
Mm-hmm.
like this thrive on competitive storylines. Riot titles always have, of players that are just a head above the rest of the crowd, grinding it out, really showing their salt and doing well in multiple of these tournaments. And we're going to be able to see that if people consistently continue to top like we have seen so far. The same people are topping the majority of these large events. If they continue to do that, that is a huge sign that the
Mm-hmm.
pro level of the game has a very large skill gap from other sections of the game, and that is what would lead us into potentially getting a pro tour or a officially Riot sanctioned high level series of tournaments for those professional types of players. I'm very personally interested in that. I think it would be a lot of fun. I'm not a Magic player, but I followed the Magic Pro Tour for years just because of the storylines that had been brought up. Brian Kibler, the Dragon Master, like, how cool is that, dude? So having a professional scene like that is very healthy for the game, as long as it's not being catered completely to the professional scene, because obviously they're going to have different gripes than casual players that are going to Nexus nights
Mm-hmm.
on what they want to be changed about the game. But as long as both groups are being listened to, it's really good. But this kind of leads into, if we're having these large invitational events, we're having these large tournaments that a lot of players are trying to vie and get into outside of the official Riot sanctioned regional circuit, that is a really healthy sign for the game. And I'm really hoping that
Yeah.
they continue to get the attendance to do this, and that continues to happen.
Yeah. And I honestly look, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, like how many people wanted to get into uh Vegas. And obviously the Riot official events are going to hold more weight just because it's like, oh yeah, you get to go. There's going to be all these people that make the game. We saw in Houston how many Riot execs were there, how many game creators were there. The content creators got their own little event that they got to open up Spirit Forge like 10 months, no, not 10 months, but like that's an exaggeration, like many months early. But you also see like here, like how CCS is doing their qualifying. It's top 8 from every 25K, so it's 48 spots. Points leaderboard. So there's obviously going to be, if you go to all 6 of these and you perform well, then you also get in. And there's obviously going to be an LCQ at the final one, whenever that is. I don't know if the dates are on here. Yeah, November 6th. So like you have ways to get there, like points leaders. You can kind of see how this works, and you can get points from a side event. So if you get I don't know what top 8 auto qualify. So if you don't get top 8, so you get 19th through 16th, you get 35 points, and then if you top 8 the Sunday, you get 30 points. So it's like there's so many ways, and it's so thought out. It's thought out to be almost on like an actual event, like a Riot run event scale almost.
So
Like,
this is how Yu-Gi-Oh actually qualifies for Worlds.
oh really? Okay.
This system. Yep. So they have individual regional tournaments, and there's a regional circuit that you can grind. There's YCSs, which are higher level events, but there's a regional circuit that you can grind to get points to qualify for the World Championship.
So that's same how Pokemon works.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a tried and true TCG system that I personally love. I think it really promotes people traveling. It really promotes you going to every single event that you can. And you're going to see those players that can do that. But you're also going to see players who just show up at one event and top 8 it because they're the bomb.com best player in the room. Show up to the event, top 8, qualify, and then go in and do extremely well at the Invitational. So multiple avenues to get there, right? You could either really put your nose to the grindstone, grind out these events, or maybe you just top 8 the first one. You can't make the other ones because of work, but that's fine. You still get to play in the Invitational. So lots of ways to qualify. Pretty good system. I'm very excited with what CCS has put together here. I think it's going to be a great tournament series, and I'm looking forward to following it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to aim to get to at least the Atlanta ones in May. I'd be able to kind of go down and play there and kind of see what I can do at those. I think being in Indy, that's a pretty drivable one.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Even Houston is drivable, but also not if you want to. I don't know how long it is. It's probably, I think it's like 12 hours, but like if you split that up, like
I'm flying to Houston. I'm not driving to Houston. just personally, I'm not doing that to myself.
But if you can find a group, if you're close enough, obviously you can drive. If you're in Texas somewhere, you're in a surrounding state.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously lots to look forward to in these higher money events. Obviously, like CCS put together, I feel like might see another. Like we could see PPG do a circuit like this. We could do SCG do a circuit like this. Like Magic does a bunch of their events at SCG cons. I would not be surprised. We have SCG Con Milwaukee in February that's going to be holding another event. So like obviously doing a lot of things, and I think it's going to be very good for the community that we're getting these high level events. We're getting a lot of them to choose from.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't like one of the organizers for whatever reason, there's a lot of tournaments that you can still go to, right? You don't have to go and support that organizer. So that's really nice. Kind of vote with your dollar kind of mentality is usually good for the competitiveness of a community, because then you are setting up not only rivalries between players, but you're also setting up the ability to be able to choose your path as a player and how you're going to qualify for some of these events and things like that. And of course, Riot's going to have the regional circuit, and I would not be surprised at all to see a pro scene for the game get announced. Most likely, in my opinion, that'll come a little bit after the first rotation would be when they would announce something like that, but we'll have to see. That's going to be my official prediction. Mark it on your calendars.
We have lots to go. I think I think that's probably a good prediction. When that happens, we're obviously not going to get the first Worlds until 2027. So still going to be a waiting game in that realm. But other than that, I think this game is very much trending on an upward scale to have a very good competitive scene, and a very healthy one as well. But that's all for the large tournament uptick. Our last segment today is something new that is coming in Spirit Forge. Is going to be these pre-Rift events. For those who don't know, as you can see on screen, my Twitter handle is Limited Teddy. Limited formats are my favorite way to play games. They're so fun. Outside of trading card games, I play fantasy football and fantasy baseball, which is the same exact concept. You're kind of drafting, you're picking and choosing what you think is the best. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to kind of run through quickly. I'm just going to rattle off a bunch of information that you guys should know for these pre-rift events. You can start thinking ahead of like, okay, how do I want to attack this? What's the best way to do this? So how pre-rift events are going to work, you're going to get this box that has it's 6 different legends. So you have a 15 card pre-built deck. The legends you are going to get, I believe this is not official, it's on Reddit, so don't take me on my word, but I believe this is what we have. It's Jax, Ezreal, Aurelia, Renata, Rek'Sai, and Lucian. So solid options. Like, I think Aurelia, obviously, I think is the best so far we've seen, but Ezreal is also great. You're able to do some draw stuff there. A lot of different solid options here. You'll get a 15 card pre-built deck that'll have your legend, a champion for that legend. I don't know how they're going to do that, if it is a certain legend or you're going to be able to basically get one of the colors. So you either get the green or the purple one for Aurelia. I don't know how that's going to work yet. All the runes needed, so 6 of each color, and then a promo card. So no actual cards to build a deck, but you'll have a basis to go off for your deck. You're also going to have 5 packs to build around that champ. How the deck works: 3 colors or 3 domains next. They can either be your legends 2 domains plus 1 or 3 other ones. The thing with sealed is you don't have to have a chosen champion or a legend. I'll get to that in a second. You have 25 cards exactly, so much smaller than that 40 card regular deck. Like I said, you don't need a chosen champion or legend. The cool thing about this, if you choose to not have one, you draw a card at your start of your beginning phase. So you get one at the beginning phase and also get one at your draw step. So you're just getting an extra card per turn.
Jinx.
Yes. So basically, just being able to kind of, if you can choose, if you pull a relic and you're like, I got no good green or purple cards, just play 3 colors that you think are the best and be able to go out and say, okay, I'm just going to draw more cards and cycle through my deck. Obviously, doing that
draws every turn. It's not just
at the beginning of phase. At your beginning phase, you get an extra. How I read the rules, if you get at the beginning phase, you get to draw a card.
That's crazy.
I will say, if you choose to not have a champion and a legend, you don't get to draw 2. You just still get to draw 1. But if you choose not to have one, then go ahead and draw your cards. Like, there's strategy behind that. If you're thinking of, like, I'm just gonna keep using Aurelia because I know her the best. So you really don't think you're gonna use that ready thing? I would if I were you. That being able to ready, especially in a limited setting, is going to be very good. But if you're able to not use that, or you don't want to use that, take her out, draw a card, and bang, you're drawing your deck. Now, obviously, you're still going to run into this issue. If you get to the end of your deck, you give your opponent a new point. You give your opponent just a point, but always something to consider. I believe I could be wrong on the point thing. I haven't looked hard to that because that does sound a little weird now that I say it out loud. But that also is something to consider. Like, if you do deck yourself out, you're going to be handing your opponent a point. A few other things: you can have any signature spells that are in your domain colors. So if you have Aurelia, you have green, purple. Say you pull Draven's signature spell, you can play that signature spell, and if your third color is red, even though your Draven is not your leader.
Gotcha.
Or legend. Sideboard, as in most limited games, is all the cards you have. You can switch domains throughout. You don't have to stick to your 3 domains. Say one game you want red, but then you realize you're playing against a deck that you'd rather have yellow. Take all your red cards out and put all your good yellow cards in. But you still have to follow that 3 requirement rule of having 3 domains. No limit of 3 cards, and then must have 3 battlefields, but you can use a blank battlefield. If you got 2 battlefields and the third one you don't really want to use, doesn't fit your deck, you can just put a card backwards into your thing, flip it over to blank battlefield, has no effect, but still a battlefield you obviously conquer and can take. So that is all of the things that, if you're listening, hope it made sense. I would recommend going and reading the sealed rules for yourself in the tournament guidelines. I think that's also just very good knowledge to have. And once we get these, now that I actually think about it, I thought these 15 card decks would have anything, but if we're just getting these legends and the runes, there's going to be ways to be able to test this out before. And if you want to do that, go right ahead, because giving yourself more knowledge, like, okay, what's good, will help you a lot. Like, reading over the cards, knowing what's good, knowing what colors can be good. Purple is going to help you a lot with draw. I'm just going to use Called Shot for an example here as a card that has good value, but also have to remember, because you're recycling for it. You're recycling a purple. It doesn't cost anything, but you're recycling. And I think something that in these limited events, if you drown yourself out of resources, if you limit yourself of resources by recycling because of power costs, you're going to run out of steam quick. And I'm gonna put together a whole video on how to attack limited on my own channel, so you guys can look out for that. But really think about like power costs in limited. I think is something that people really need to be aware of, because if you're recycling cards, obviously you get those runes back, but you're going to fall so far behind in a game where it's so hit or miss with what you draw. If you don't have enough runes to play your high-end cards on curve, you're going to fall behind very quickly. So I know that was a lot. I hope all of you are listening. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Twitter or Discord. I love to talk limited. So Eli, what are your like first thoughts behind limited hearing all of that?
So yeah, I think it's going to be a very different experience from what we got with the launch of the game, right? Because we got a semi-limited format, not intensely limited, because we obviously had the structure decks that we were given, right? So you got the Jinx, the Victor, or the what was the third one? Jinx, Victor, Volibear was the trial deck. What was the third structure
Jinx,
deck?
Victor, and
Lee Sin. So Jinx, Victor, Lee Sin. You got those structure decks, but you were also given 3 packs. And you could open those packs and insert those into the structure deck. So it was like a pseudo limited environment, not entirely limited.
3 packs.
That's what. Did
we get packs on it? Oh, I don't remember.
That's what we did at the 2 events that I went to. Anyway, I don't know if that was something that every store.
Memory's probably just lapsing.
But yeah, we got 3 packs. You could insert those into the deck. However, this event, people know how to play the game now. I think that is going to be a huge deal for these kind of events moving forward, because nobody knew how to play. We went into time every single round trying to look up rules and trying to figure everything out. But this pre-Rift experience, people know how to play the game now. They're going to come with a gameplay. They're going to come prepared. So I'd actually expect these to be a little bit more competitive than what you could potentially be looking at when you're looking at these events that happened from last set. So I would definitely be prepared if you're going into it. I think that limited itself is very cool in this game. I like that they have a full limited rule set that has already been made. I would love to see, once product becomes more available, actual drafts happening at stores, because I also love limited. I'm a huge fan of limited. And this specifically is going to be limited where you don't draft, obviously, but usually pre-release events are always that, where you just open whatever product and you play sealed. So you open whatever product you have, you play sealed out of it, which is definitely fun. I personally prefer draft limited formats because I like making the decisions at each point, but I know a lot of people really prefer the sealed format, and I can understand why. It makes a lot of sense. What are you most like looking forward to in this limited format, Teddy?
I just think I haven't played limited in so long, so I'm excited for one for that, to be able to look forward to that. But it also, I think it really challenges people's deck building. If you're able to like consider knowing that you can use all of your cards, if you're able to technically put 2 decks together, because if you have green, purple, and red for Aurelia, and that's what you go in, because you know that's your most even matchups versus like most everything, you have your better cards in that. If you're able to go in and say, okay, this is what I'll play game 1, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't win with this red. I need my yellow stuff to beat what my opponent has. Take all of your red stuff out and put your yellow stuff in. And I think that's really going to challenge people. Like, can you deck build? And I know, like, for someone who is very much a deck builder and likes to deck build and is like getting better at it, I can tell, like, is someone who's still younger in the TCG space and hasn't been playing for as long as many. I think it really challenges your deck building. It really challenges how consistent you can be, and making sure that like make a consistent deck in a very limited environment where you're having to be able to try to put something together to win that isn't going to be competitively viable, that isn't going to be like, oh my gosh, if you're able to get some cards and blow everyone out of the water, like obviously that's going to happen. We saw it at our Paradigm release event. The guy who won it all had Jinx, and he got another Jinx, and he got another Vi in his packs.
Yeah.
And he just ran the table. Like, that's going to happen to some people. Some people are just going to get the nuts. I remember, like, Lorcana, for those who played the game, in set 1, someone pulled a Be Prepared. And Be Prepared basically banished all units on the board. And so it's like, those type of cards, people are going to get those bombs that are able to basically just change the game. But if you're able to put together a deck that can be consistently hitting their curves, hitting when they want to, being able to recycle efficiently, knowing when to recycle, I think is going to be really good. It's going to be tougher in this environment because you're like, if I pull 4 cards and I'm like, okay, I have a top end card. I have a Harness Dragon. I think that's just going after a random card. That's a higher cost card in Spirit Forge. You're able to basically say, okay, I could keep this, but I also have a card that I need to recycle to. Like I have a Punch First. Those are 2 orange cards. I also have a Punch First. What do I do? Because Punch First is a card where you're like, oh my gosh, I can play this and really buff a unit, but then you're really drowning yourself with resources and like, okay, yeah, I won that trade, but now I'm going to be going up to 4. My opponent's going up to 6. They're able to play their high cost card, and you're going to be a turn behind. And in a game where it's so like limited is so viable on how many units you have on the board, because you're just trying to win combats. And that's how, like, obviously how the game works. You're trying to keep up a consistent board presence, and if you're not able to do that, you're going to lose. Like that's just how limited works.
Do all runes count as all runes, or are they still their colors?
It's still their colors. Yes,
they're still their colors in limited format. Okay.
So yes. So like that's something you'll also have to think about. I believe you have the 3 colors, and I believe you'll be able to you can play 3 different rune colors. So that's also going to be something to think
for
about.
Your recycle costs, right?
Yes,
like
exactly.
If you're playing, yeah, that makes sense.
For like, well, recycle. Like you'll have to play the 3 color runes. Like you won't be able to recycle a red for a green. I don't believe.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is.
But your rune deck will have whatever colors you need it in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
but what I'm saying is essentially like my 3rd color, I could just play no recycle costs in my 3rd color.
Oh yeah,
like that kind of thing.
If you play like
build around that.
Yeah, if like you have like 6 yellow cards and none of them have a recycle cost on them, you don't have to. You can play 6 green and 6 purple. But if you have like 2 cards that have yellow, maybe you go 5, 5, and 2, or 4, 4, 4, or whatever you 5, 4, 3, like something like that to kind of even it out. But I think it's just you're always going to have to be contagious. Be contagious. Sorry, I'm reading something that says contagious. Be consistently aware of what you're doing and how your deck is performing, because you can change it out. If you realize, okay, you have a strategy going into game 1 of your event, like, okay, that just did not work. Reevaluate. If you have time, rebuild your deck. You can do that. That is something that I think people are like, okay, this is my deck. This is what I pulled. I can't make this better. I promise you, you can make it better. Just look at what you have. I recommend if doing sealed, always like when you're opening these packs, sure, you're going to be excited, but go like quickly open your packs, because like, sure, you want to slow roll and see, oh my gosh, I got something, but be willing to say, okay, I have this. What can I do with it? And sort by colors, obviously, so you know what you're doing. Look at what your chosen champions colors are and see if they match. Something also, if you pull a signature card, you can always ask your store, hey, I pulled this, I want to play it, but I don't want to play it at the same time. Yeah. You want to keep it safe. And most people will say, okay, yeah, fine. We will find you, like, they can print a proxy, you can write down what it is. And just, you have proof. People, if you pull a signature, you're going to erupt, your people are going to see it. So they're going to know that you have it. And if they ask, okay, why do you have a paper card? Just pull it out, say, I don't want to have this on the board, and stuff like that. So that's my limited ramble. I'm gonna have a full comprehensive video coming out soon. Just be able to kind of go over everything that I think people should know about limited, how they should attack it. So yeah,
awesome. Very excited to see that, Teddy. But hey guys, with that, that's gonna pretty much wrap our show today. We had a lot to get through. Talked about a whole lot today. Really dense episode. I thought we had
some water. My water ran out.
Really good conversation. I mean, it's hard, right? When you have guests for the last couple of weeks, you don't talk as much. Then all of a sudden, we're doing all the talking again ourselves. Got the throat tickle for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna say the same thing we always do here, guys. Make sure you follow us on social media. I'm battle tested everywhere: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, or X. We're gonna say it every time: Twitter or X. But Teddy, what are your socials?
As always, Limited Teddy on Twitter and Discord. Come follow me there. Come follow us on the Twitter at SM Riftbound, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Super Mega Riftbound. But yeah, that was episode 6. Eli, again, it's always a pleasure. We will see you guys next week. We will have another guest from the Indy area, actually, that we're really excited to talk about Riftbound with. So yeah, that was episode 6, and we will see you guys all next week.
See ya.